systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube station? Welcome to the Saturday, December 9th NHL Quick Hit Edition brought to you by SHIPIT Nation. If you are not a member yet, head over to shipitnation.com and use the promo code TRY20. Gets you $20 off your first month, access to all of our premium content, as you can see there, expert content, projections, tools, education, and the best Discord community in the industry. Again, $20 off your first month. This does apply to the annual and the 6-month package as well. We got you covered for all the major sports. And in the Discord, we got other members helping out with the ancillary sports like college football, college basketball, everything in there, NASCAR, you name it. We got people in there helping out. But we do cover all the 6 major sports there, as you see on the screen. Again, promo code TRY20 gets you $20 off. Let's jump right in. We got 9 games on tap here tonight. Slate locking at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. In terms of totals, we got a 5.5 total there. New York and Washington is a 5.5 total. The rest of the slate is basically 6.5 totals. Montreal, Buffalo, 6.5 total. Ottawa, Detroit, 6.5 total. Nashville, Toronto, 6.5. And then the other 6.5 total is the late night hammer game, Carolina and Vancouver. Rest of the games on the slate are 6 total. As always, let's jump into some of my favorite stacks here. My favorite stack of the night tonight is going to be these LA Kings heading on the road to face the Islanders. They're minus 145 road favorites here, 6 over under in the game, 3.5 implied goal total for the LA Kings here. I absolutely love these Kings. Kings are playing great hockey right now, coming off 3 straight wins where they scored 4 goals in each of the 3 games. I see another 4 or 5 goal performance here tonight against these Islanders. Islanders have been very, very leaky on home ice. They've been even, when you look at expected goals against, they've been even worse than their actual numbers. So I really love targeting these Kings. My favorite Kings piece is Trevor Moore. The guy's playing out of his mind right now. Second line, second power play. He's averaging over 3.5 shots on goal per game. You can add his 2 line mates, Philip Deneau and Kevin Fiala, as a nice stack. And then also this top line is been very good too. Quentin Byfield, loved him last time he played against Montreal 2 nights ago. He scored 28 DraftKings points there, had 2 goals and an assist in 11 minutes there. Didn't get a ton of ice time, but they were kind of blowing the doors off of Montreal there. So I like going right back to that top line as well. I think my preference here is actually going to be the second line though. But again, these top 6 skaters, all of them firmly in play here for me from the Kings side. Do like these guys quite a bit here. From the D-man perspective, Drew Doughty continues to be super, super cheap at 4.7K. Top line, top power play. He hasn't scored under 14 DraftKings points in his last 3 games. That's way too cheap for Drew Doughty here. So love these Kings. Kings, my favorite stack of the night. Really, really like the spot for them here. Jump into another team I have interest in here. It's another team, and it's going to be Toronto here. Toronto is on home ice here against Nashville. 6.5 is the total in this one. Nashville has been pretty leaky on the road overall, and Toronto, I just think, is in a pretty good spot here. The main spot that I'm going to go when I'm targeting Toronto here is going to be this top power play. Really like this top power play unit here for Toronto. The Predators do struggle on the road to kill off the penalty. Just a 70% penalty kill on the road this season. They give up about 3.5 chances per game as well. So Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, Mitchell Marner, and then Morgan Riley, 5.3K up on that top power play. I like all 5 of those skaters. So I'm really targeting this top power play if I'm going to Toronto here. Austin Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Mitchell Marner, Morgan Riley, if coming to these Toronto pieces here tonight. Another team I'm looking at here tonight is Detroit. Detroit on home ice here against Ottawa. Detroit minus 130 favorites. 6.5 is the total. They're implied to score over 3.5 goals here. Ottawa's been pretty leaky on the road. They've also been a great offense on the road. They are the best offense in the league on the road in terms of expected goals for. But Detroit's been very good defensively on home ice here. I do like their goalie a little bit here, Alex Lyon. I'll talk about him later once I talk about the goalies. But I like going to this Detroit pieces here. Dylan Larkin, since he's returned, has been very, very good. 4.5 shots on average over the last 5 games. He's going to play over 20 minutes. I think he's a great play. Patrick Kane came back last game against the Sharks, played 17 minutes, fired 3 pucks on net. He's still 5.5K skating next to DeBrincat and Villano there. He's still a fine play there. He's been a stud. Obviously, he took some time off there. Nice to see him back on the ice. He was a stud for Chicago for many years there. So Patrick Kane is fine, but I think my preferred is this top line: Fabry, Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin. Lucas Raymond continues to have a great price point at 5K. He's playing great hockey right now, so I do like him. And then jumping to a third liner here. I do think this third line is interesting. Michael Rasmussen is playing great right now at 3.4K. And then Kopp and Perron are his 2 line mates. So I do think you can jump into this third line if you need some salary savings. Jake Wallman as a D-man, 5.8K. Don't love his price point now that he's up to 5.8K. I prefer Moritz Seider here at 5.5K. For cheaper, Seider hasn't scored under 14 DraftKings points in his last 5 games, 16, 16, 16, 14, 19. He's shown a floor of 14, like I said, averaging over 16 fantasy points per game over the last 5, and he's 5.5K. So I do like that price quite a bit there. Jumping into another team that I have some interest in here, it's going to be these Buffalo Sabres on home ice against Montreal. We know the deal with Montreal. Montreal is just not very good. This Montreal team, basically it's a battle of 2 similar teams here. I put these 2 teams in the same category here, but I give the edge to Buffalo. Buffalo on home ice here. I expect them to get pretty decent ownership. They're minus 180 favorites here, and they remain pretty cheap. Jeff Skinner at 6K flat, one of the best wing plays on the slate, top line, top power play. He's averaging nearly 5 shots on goal per game over the last 5. 6K flat for him is too cheap there, so I do like that. Rasmus Seiler is always in play. From a D-man perspective, I don't mind that. JJ Peterka has been playing great all season long. He has decent history against Montreal as well. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game over the last 5, so I think he's a fine mid-tier wing play. His line mate, Dylan Cousins there, 4.1K. Great history against Montreal. Second line, top power play unit. He's averaging over 2.5 shots on goal per game. I think he's fine. And then Zach Benson is their other line mate. So if I'm going to Buffalo, I do like these second liners a little bit at their price points, but with the Tage Thompson up there on the top line, I mean, Middlestat, Tage Thompson, and Jeff Skinner, I think you can definitely go to them as well here. I'm not sure if Thompson's going to be back here tonight. If he's not, obviously that gives a boost here to Casey Middlestat, 4.4K. Do like him a ton, but my preference here, Buffalo line 2, I believe, if I'm going to Buffalo in this spot here. I think we can see some goals, and it's a battle of 2 basically similar teams here, and I think this game goes back and forth quite a bit in this spot. 2 more teams I'm looking at here. First team is going to be these Tampa Bay Lightning in the late night game on the road here against Seattle. I just think this is an excellent spot here for Tampa. Tampa's been playing great. Nikita Kucherov's got to be in play every single time he's on the slate. He's got immense upside here. He plays over 20 minutes. He's averaging nearly 6 shots on goal per game over the last 5, averaging over 20 DraftKings points per game over the last 5 games as well. He is 9,500 here, but he gets a pretty good matchup against the Kraken despite being on the road here. But if I'm going to Tampa, I'm going to the power play. I'm going to target the power play against this Seattle Kraken team who's got a sub 70% penalty kill on home ice this season. So Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman, and Nicholas Paul is a fine value play at 4K flat, getting that top power play time as well there. So top power play for me for Tampa if I'm targeting the Lightning here. Last team I'll bring up on this 9-game slate for a stack perspective is going to be another road team here. 6 over under in this game. But it's going to be the St. Louis Blues, minus 125 road favorites here, implied to score over 3 goals here. Anyone against these Blackhawks, I definitely have interest in. Justin Falk at 4.8K, I think is a fine D-man here. He's averaging over 3.5 shots on goal per game. Another nice value play here from the wing position. I do like this top line quite a bit. Busnevich, Rob Thomas, and Jake Neighbors here. 3.9K for Jake Neighbors. He's been great. Obviously, last game against Chicago back last month, he did score 2 goals, picked up a couple blocks, played 18 minutes. I like going right back to the well with him. He's getting top line, top power play time as well. Torrey Krug is another mid-tier D-man, 4.5K. He's getting top power play time. I think he's fine. Jordan Kyrou and Kevin Hayes and Braden Shen is a great line as well. So I do like these D-men. I like these top 2 lines here for St. Louis. I like St. Louis to win this game outright. Chicago is not a very good hockey team at all. And I think St. Louis gets a little overlooked here in this spot. Not a lot of people like to play these St. Louis Blues. Give me these top 2 lines here for the Blues, who are sitting at 500 on the year, 13-13. So do think they're pretty solid plays, pretty solid stack on this slate. Jumping into some value plays at each position. If you guys are new, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton over here at SHIPITNation.com. If you are not a member, head over to SHIPITNation.com. Use that promo code TRY20. Gets you $20 off your first month's payment. Gets you access to our premium Discord, all of our content projections tools, everything you need to have success with DFS. Back to the value plays here, starting with some value centers. First value center I'm going to bring up is Anthony Cirelli here. This guy's averaging nearly 13 DraftKings points per game over the last 5. I like Tampa in this spot. I like Tampa. Tampa's on the road. I like second liners a little bit more. Anthony Cirelli averaging over 2.5 shots on goal per game. He's playing over 18 minutes. He is a great value play at 3.9K. Going back to Andrew Kopp, I already talked about liking that third line a little bit there. Rasmussen's playing great. Perron is cheap, and Andrew Kopp 3.9K is cheap as well here. On home ice, 3.9K Andrew Kopp is another fine value play. Going back to the late night game here, I was talked about liking the Tampa side, but do have to have some interest in a guy that's 3.2K, averaging over 2 shots on goal per game and playing over 18 minutes. Alex Wenberg for Seattle. 3.2K, I think, is a fine value center here. And then the last value center I'm going to bring up here, Colorado. I didn't bring them up from a stack perspective. I'm just going to take a stand and be underweight on a chalky Avs team here. But Avs at home, firmly in play. I do like these cheaper guys if I'm going to them. So one guy I'm going to bring up, Ross Colton, getting top power play time as well. Second line, he did get bumped up to the second line from the third line. So I do like him. He's my favorite Avs piece, Ross Colton, 3.8K. Jumping into some value wings on this slate here. First guy I already talked about, Jake Neighbors. Love him at 3.9K. Like the Blues in this one, so he's fine. Another cheap Colorado piece, Jonathan Drouin, top line, top power play, skating next to O'Connor and Nathan MacKinnon. Anytime you're on the same line as Nathan MacKinnon, you have to have interest. He's getting top power play time as well. 3.5K for Jonathan Drouin on home ice, I think, is a good play. Going back to the St. Louis Blues, Kevin Hayes, 3.3K. He's averaging over 2 shots on goal per game, playing 16 to 18 minutes here. He's been pretty good. Gets a solid matchup here against Chicago, and he's just 3.3K, getting power play time as well on that second unit. Kevin Hayes, 3.3K. Do like him quite a bit. Going back to the LA Kings, my favorite team on the slate here. Third liner here. It's going to be Carl Grundstrom here, 3.4K. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game over the last 5. He's only going to play 14 to 16 minutes likely here, but 3.4K on my favorite team of the night here. Carl Grundstrom is a fine value play. And then the last guy I will bring up is on the other side of that Kings game. It's from the Islanders here. He's got an incredible history against the Kings. It's going to be Pierre Engvall here, 3K flat. 12, 13, 11, 13 DraftKings points in his last 5. Had some tough matchups in there. He hasn't scored under 12 DraftKings points against these LA Kings all last year. He scored a goal in each of the last 3 games against the same squad. I do like Pierre Engvall quite a bit as a one-off at 3K flat. He's playing great hockey right now. Getting power play time as well, 2.6K. Pierre Engvall rounds out my value demon on this, or value wings, on this slate. Jumping into some value demon on the slate. First value demon I'm going to bring up is Ben Chariot here for the Detroit Red Wings, 3.3K here. Second liner, playing close to 20 minutes. He's averaging 3 blocks per game over the last 5, averaging about 1.5 shots per game as well. Ben Chariot, 3.3K, I think is a fine value play on this slate. Going back to the Islanders, 3.4K, Mike Riley here. Not going to play a ton of minutes, but he's been pretty good. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game since he's returned back a couple games ago. I don't love him a ton, but do need to bring it up just because he's getting power play time as well. Mike Riley, I think, is a fine value play here. Going to the New York Rangers here, who I didn't talk about too much, but one guy that's playing great right now for these Rangers, 3.6K, Keandre Miller from the D-man position, 21 to 23 minutes expected for him. He's averaging over 2 shots on goal per game. I do like him. He's averaging nearly 12 DraftKings points per game over the last 5 as well. So Keandre Miller, 3.6K is a fine value play here. Going back to the Avs, again, I'm targeting these Avs. If I'm going to these Avs here, who I do think are going to be pretty chalky here tonight, I'm going to go to the cheap pieces. That makes Josh Manson in play for me from a D-man perspective. 3.3K, 18 to 20 minutes expected. He's going to block some shots. He does take some shots as well. Skate next to Bowen Byron on the same line there. I do think he is a fine value play. And then the last guy I will bring up here is going back to the Kings. Vladislav Gavrikov here, 3K flat, playing over 20 minutes, averaging almost a shot and a half, 2 shots on goal per game over the last 5. Second liner, playing over 20 minutes in a spot where I like the Kings quite a bit, $500 over min price. Vladislav Gavrikov is going to be my last value D-man that I will bring up on the slate. Jumping into the goalie position here, my favorite goalie on the slate, Cam Talbot. My favorite stack on the slate is the Kings. So Cam Talbot, 7.9K, sub 8K for my favorite team. My favorite goalie on the slate, Cam Talbot. Do like him quite a bit. Already talked about liking Detroit here. Alex Lyons, 7.8K, who's playing an incredible hockey right now. Last year, he had a 56 save win against the same Ottawa team here at home. I think we can see another 25 to 30 point DraftKings game here. Alex Lyon, he's playing great his last 4 games, 21, 31, 26, and 16. 4 straight wins for him. Alex Lyon, I think he keeps it rolling tonight here. My second favorite goalie on the slate is Alex Lyon. Talked about liking the St. Louis Blues here on the road against Chicago. Have to have interest in Jordan Binnington at 8K flat here on the road against Chicago. I don't see Chicago winning this game, so Jordan Binnington here, 8K, would be my favorite spend-up goalie if I'm going to one. And then the last guy I will bring up, 8.1K, a little bit more expensive than Binnington here, is going to be Igor Shesterkin here. Rangers should win this game against the Capitals here. It's a 5.5 total. You can play both goalies in this one. I just prefer the Rangers. I think the Rangers are the better hockey team. So Igor Shesterkin at 8.1K is going to round out my goalies on this slate. That's all 9 games. Gave you my favorite stacks, gave you some values at each position. My favorite goalies, as always, my final slate plan, core plays, and our matchup sheet will be live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers. If you are not a member yet, head over to SHIPITNation.com. One last time, use that promo code TRY20. Gets you $20 off your first month. Does apply to the 6-month and the yearly package as well. That'll do it. Good luck tonight in your NHL contest. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For myself, Nadesify, let's ship it.